If you'd called me out sooner, Mr. Kitson, I could have saved the fourth one.
Three's a crowd and four's not but a nuisance. She'd be better off with just two.
That's a matter of opinion. Thanks. What's the trouble here?
She had a roughish time lambing yesterday.
What do you mean, roughish?
Big single lamb, a leg back. And I couldn't fetch it round.
And you pulled it out as it was with the leg back?
Huh? Naught else I could do.
Could do with a bit of attention, Mr. Kitson.
No, I want none of that. It's all over with her. There's naught you can do.
You mean she's dying?
That's right.
Yes, she is. Bring Mallet to come and pick her up. Thank you. There's no point letting her suffer.
I'll do that. How much?
Oh, half a crown.
I'll have to go to the house for it.
It doesn't matter now, Mr. Kitson.
It does to me. I don't want none of your bills. I'll pay cash. You wait here, young man. I'll say this for you veterinaries. You don't undercharge a man. Here you are.
Thanks. And I'll say this to you, Mr. Kitson. You've got a dying ewe in there. She was worth a damn sight more than half a crown to you. If you'd given me the chance, I could have saved her too. It's worth thinking about.
What have you got, Mr. Farnham?
Both legs back. They're a long way in, Mr. Dawson. Look at the length of her pelvis.
I've seen longer.
I'm all right. It's just the uterus contracting.
That's to be expected.
It gets you round between the calf and the pelvis.
Only natural that it should.
Hello, Bob.
Oh, yeah. Hello there, Mr. Elliot.
What's that you got there?
Just you come and look, Mr. Elliot.
Chickens. Great Scott, Bob, a Jersey. Don't see many of those round here.
Pedigree long as your arm.
She's a beauty, Bob. Where did you get her from?
Joan's dad.
Huh?
The wife, Mr. Elliot. Her old man's got a prize herd down in Sussex. This were a present.
Well, it's a very handsome one, too. She looks a bit tucked up.
Not bound to. It's the cold, you know, those cattle trucks are. I've only just fetched her from station.
Yes, of course. Well, it's the cold you'll have to watch with her.
Never you fear. I'll nurse her like a baby. She'll stay inside with the calf till the weather's right.
You will breed from her, of course.
Oh, aye, when time comes. Shorthorn cross.
Oh, yes, good idea. Any luck, you'll get the shorthorn yield and stamina, plus the Jersey cream.
All right, that's what I was thinking. Well, I'm glad to see you, Mr. Elliot.
The best of luck, Bob.
Thanks. Is young Mr. Farnham down the road?
Oh?
Ah, I saw his car outside Dowson's place.
Oh.
It's all right, young man. Get the sup to drink.
Hi, Tris. How's it going? Oh, grief. You all right, Tris?
Thanks, old chap.
That best leave us, Mr. Elliot. He needs his rest.
Yes, of course.
What is it, Mr. Dawson?
A fine bull calf. Charlie's wisping here now. Yeah, get another drop of this brandy into the left. I've never seen anyone work harder. Gave it all his heart, he did.
Good stuff. Wouldn't mind a drop myself.
I don't hold with drinking for its own sake. Only when it's needed, Miss Eric.
Of course, you missed the really dramatic part of my performance.
Oh, I saw quite enough. Gave it all his heart, he did. No, Tris. Any man who can get a 3-star brandy out of Dowson the way you do doesn't have to prove his point. I'm just envious, that's all. Oh, hello. A pint for Mr. Farnham, please, Betty.
Oh, thank you kindly. How was Kitson?
Unchanged. One perfectly good you dying painfully because he couldn't bring himself to call us in time.
Typical.
Here you are, Mr. Farnham.
Thank you very much, Betty.
Right,
Thank
here
you.
are.
Good health.
Yep.
You
Cheers.
tell him to call Malak?
Yes.
He won't, child.
No, I know he won't. So I slipped it 40 cc's in Nembertal when he wasn't looking. Any luck he won't wake up again.
Sensible thinking, James. The Sillers and the Kitsons of this world are callous devils. Tristan, how was your carving?
Not easy. Cow of the back as long as a cricket pitch. But I managed pretty well.
James, he may not be qualified, but the boy is learning.
Oh, making great strides, I'd say.
That's praise for you. Did Dawson show you his new pedigree bull?
No, there was no time for non-essentials.
Sickness and diarrhea? When did it start, Mrs. Flaxon?
Only yesterday.
I see. Has she had a change of food?
No, nothing like that.
Does she scavenge? You know, is she inclined to eat rubbish when she's out?
I don't think so. Not as a rule, certainly.
Well, she has a slightly raised temperature. Seems bright enough otherwise. Let's have a feel of your tummy, Penny. Ah. Touch of gastroenteritis.
Was that bad?
It can be. This is quite mild. I'll give you some medicine. Keep her on a light diet for a few days. That should do the trick.
Oh, I'm so grateful.
There we are.
What is it?
It's our own special medicine. Usually works very well. And if it doesn't, well, you can bring it back.
Yes, of course. Thank you again, Mr. Harriet.
Not a bit.
I'm so sorry. Oh, hello. Mrs. Flaxton.
Yes.
Well, how are you finding Derby?
Oh, we love it, Mr. Farnham.
Good, good, excellent. When you're settled in, you must bring your husband over here for a drink with us.
Oh, we'd like to very much.
Good, well done. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
First time man looking after you.
Oh, very well,
Now
thank
then, you two, leave it alone. Let's have some manners with the lady. Go on, you. Nice to see you, Mrs. Flaxton.
Thank you, Mr. Farnham. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. She's a ray of sunshine, Dad, if we could do with a few more like her.
Yeah, she's sweet, isn't she?
Does Helen think so?
I'm not sure they've met. I'm sure she would. I mean, you couldn't help it, could you?
Well, no, I couldn't, James, but you never know with women, do you? Well, I'm not here to talk about the fair sex. What did you say to Kitson the other day?
Kitson?
Well, whatever it was made a great impression. He's just been on the telephone. He wants you out again.
Well, I'm damned. What is it this time?
Another lambing, I believe.
Oh, wonders will never cease.
Well,
that was no great problem, Mr. Kitson.
no, not with half a crown.
But I'm glad you called me.
I don't doubt it at that price. But there's something to see. Take a look, Miss Harriet.
What's wrong with her? She looks fine.
Ah, she does.
Well?
That's told last you told me to get Malik to fetch.
What? But she was dying.
Ah, that's what you told me, young fella. Said she hadn't long to go, didn't you?
It's extraordinary. Inflammation's gone. No tumefaction. I don't understand it, Mr. Kitson.
I'll tell you something. Neither can I. I spent all my life among sheep, and I've never seen nought like it. That you just fell asleep.
Is that so?
Aye, fell asleep, I tell you, and stayed sleeping for 2 days.
2 days?
She did. I'm not joking nor jesting. I kept coming in here, and she never altered. Lay there as peaceful as you like, all through first day, all through second, and third morning when I come in, she was standing there looking at me, asking for a grub. I can't get over it. 2 whole days and never moved. I'll tell you what, young fella, you'd just think she'd been drugged.
Good Lord. I wonder.
James, what is it?
Kitson's you?
Oh, no, darling, not now.
It's been on my mind all day, darling.
That was yesterday. Oh, look at the time. It's 3:05. Please, James, let's go back to sleep.
I'm sorry, love. This may be important. I think I've hit on something.
All right. What is it?
This may be absolute rubbish.
I'll tell you if it is.
That you was dying. I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever. Dying and in pain. Frightened. So I gave it a damn great shot of Nembutal while Kitson was getting my half-crown.
So?
It didn't die. It slept. Slept for 2 whole days and woke up well. Now, why, Helen? Ask yourself that.
Go on.
Well, one thing is obvious. Its life wasn't saved by medicinal therapy. I didn't give it any. So what did I give it?
Sleep?
Exactly. Continuous pain, terror, shock. Now, do you think those things alone could cause an animal's death?
Yes. Yes, I do, James.
I give it sleep. Deep, lasting sleep, and those 3 things cease to exist for it. And while they cease to exist, well, it gives nature a chance to do her own job of healing. Does that sound like rubbish?
No, it doesn't. It sounds like a truth. A very wonderful one. James, you can't possibly be wrong.
Well,
I think you're wonderful, too.
Still diarrhea and vomiting?
Yes, it hasn't let up at all.
When did Mr. Herriot examine her?
3 days ago. He told me to come back if the medicine didn't work.
Well, plainly hasn't. Do you know what he prescribed?
He did tell me. Oh, I've got the bottle.
Oh, I see.
You mean it wasn't the right stuff?
Oh, no, nothing like that. This is a good old-fashioned remedy. I do rather wish you'd seen me in the first place, though.
But surely Mr. Herriot...
Oh, an excellent vet. First class. In his own line of country. Well, let me put it like this. My brother Siegfried is an expert with horses. Now, for cattle, sheep, pigs, you won't find a better man than Mr. Herriot. And in this partnership, domestic pets are very much my province.
Oh, I do wish I'd known, but he seemed so very reassuring.
Well, of course he did. Quite rightly so. He was on duty here. I'd been called out. And it looked like a simple case of gastroenteritis. Still is. But we mustn't allow it to continue, so I'm going to hit it on the head in one.
Oh, that would be marvellous.
She's still eating, is she?
Oh, yes, her appetite's good.
Well, this stuff looks a bit messy, but I've had splendid results with it. Just mix it with her food.
Thank you so much, Mr. Farnan. You know, I was really beginning to get quite worried.
Well, I don't think you need any more.
Goodbye, Mr. Farnan.
Goodbye, Mrs. Baxton.
Goodbye. Thank you again.
Oh, Mrs. Flaxton?
Yes.
I don't anticipate any further trouble, but if you feel the least cause for concern, don't hesitate to call me. Day or night.
Oh, I won't. How very kind.
Not at all. All part of the service.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Was that Mrs. Flaxton I heard?
Yes, it was.
Oh. And, what's up with you?
Me? Nothing. Just my usual joie de vivre.
Yes, she does have that effect on people. How's Penny?
She is no better. She is much the same.
And, why didn't you call me?
Oh, I didn't know you were back, old chap. Anyway, both ladies seem perfectly happy with my bedside manner.
Oh, I'm sure they did. What did you prescribe?
Well, I seem to remember you saying that this mixture of carbon and astringents is pretty hot stuff.
Oh, you didn't give her that, did you?
Yes. Well, I mean, it couldn't do any harm, could it?
On the contrary, my dear Chiss, it's just what the doctor ordered. Well, what this doctor would have ordered anyway.
Well, there you are, then.
Yes, there I am. Where's Siegfried?
Haven't seen him. He left a note on the pad, called out to, Bob Rigby.
Bob Rigby?
And did you notice something wrong, Bob?
Hard to say, Mr. Farnan. She had a roughish trip up with the calf. Well, yeah, it was long and cold. And like Mr. Herriot said, she seemed a bit tucked up. Just a chill, I reckon, so I brought her straight in here and she's been well bedded down since.
Thank you. Did you notice her going lame?
No. Well, there's not much space.
When did you start the salivating?
Well, she was dribbling a bit yesterday.
I see. I've got hard news for you, Bob, about the hardest a farmer has to bear. It's foot and mouth disease.
Oh, no, Mr. Farnan, don't say that. Not foot and mouth.
I'm afraid so, there's no doubt. All the symptoms are there. See the blisters between the clips of our hooves, the high temperature, the salivation. Look here. See the vesicles on her tongue? Now then, what stock do you carry here?
20 sheep, lambings just started, 6 pigs, 2 sows due to farrow,
Cattle?
12 head, not counting her and the calf.
You know what this means, don't you? This is a notifiable disease. I have to tell the authorities. Your farm's in quarantine from this moment on. All cloven-footed beasts have to be slaughtered and burned.
I'm a rude man, Mr. Farnan.
Oh, well, Bob, you get some compensation from the government, didn't you?
Oh, that don't mean a thing, and you know it.
No insurance.
A present from Joan's dad. It was an act of kindness. Didn't know what he was sending me.
She was one of his?
Yeah.
And he's in trouble, too.
Oh, my God, Mr. Farnham, that lovely herd. Where does it end?
More to the point if we knew where it began, Bob.
Where does it end? cattle, Mr. Farnan.
What about them?
I only bought them 10 days ago. That was before this one come.
Doesn't make a mighty difference, Bob. This is infected land.
But they aren't on this land.
Where are they?
They're in a meadow on the other side of Dowson's farm. I rent it from him.
But you've been down milking them?
No, I haven't. They're all youngsters.
But you've been down among them?
No, just as far as the gate to see. There was no need to go in. The grazing's still good, and there's water from the beck and a bit of old rick that can help themselves to hay. That's just about finished. I was going to cart some down today.
But you haven't?
Not yet.
Then you mustn't.
Well, they need the extra feed.
You leave that to me. You're in quarantine too, Bob. Now, no promises, but I think we might save your cattle.
Poor old Bob.
Yes, James. Horrid. Horrid.
Well, I've hosed down the car in the yard, smothered your tyres with carbolic. Now, can I do the same for you, brother?
Thank you. Mrs. Hall is disinfecting my clothes. I've disinfected my body. And take that silly grin off your face. This is not a laughing matter.
Sorry. No, of course it's not.
What about your gumboots?
On the back doorstep, disinfected too.
Good man. Very good serve a drink if you want one.
What are the chances, Siegfried?
Of it not spreading?
Yes.
Nil, I think.
Well, he brought that cow and calf from the station, then his cart to the farm, put them straight in the stall, and they haven't been out of it since.
James, where's all that college teaching? He received those beasts before any definite symptoms showed. That's the most infectious period. Since then, he's been back and forth on the high road in his horse and cart. Mrs. Rigby's been shopping in Danby, been visiting her neighbours, and all intermediate means of contamination.
Like your tyres?
It's my tyres, James's clothes, the cattle truck, the loading bay at the Sussex end, the unloading here. Why go on?
What about the Sussex end? Any news?
Oh, yes. Yes. Confirmed and spreading. That's their concern, poor devils. Up here we have one notified case, and the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries boys are taking prompt action.
What about Bob's heifers?
Can I come to those in a moment, James? You see, it's just conceivable this thing won't spread beyond Rigby's, but it's so unlikely that we have to be prepared for the worst. And from today, there's a standstill order imposed on every farm within a 15-mile radius of the infected premises. That means no movements of any animals, except under special license.
Which means no market day in Darby.
Of course, or any other market town in the area.
But we carry on as usual.
Well, no, James, not quite. For the moment, I'm going to put myself into quarantine, too. I'm not going outside this house. I'll take morning and evening surgery, and I'll answer the telephone at all times. And you two will have to deal with all outside calls.
What, day and night?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
But surely, Siegfried...
I'm sorry, Tristan, it seems very hard on the pair of you, but I think it's a sensible precaution.
Honestly, Siegfried, I can't possibly see the reason for you
Well,
to...
just listen instead. If you don't know the Dales farmers by now, then you damn well ought to. I was the one who went to Bob Rigby's, and the words got around. Now, if I went out on a perfectly ordinary call and by some horrid mischance, foot and mouth subsequently broke out on that farm, they'd swear I was the carrier. Absolute nonsense, of course. But I'm not going to risk having it said. Of course, if the outbreak extends, let alone runs wild, then I end my self-imposed murder.
Oh, that's comforting.
Come on, Tris, Siegfried's right. And if there isn't an epidemic, well, quarantine only lasts a month. He won't kill us.
All right, I haven't spoken.
Bob's heifers?
Ah, yes, I mentioned them to Judson when I talked to him at the ministry. Took a bit of persuading, but not for the chopper yet.
Dowson's going to love that. They're right next door to him.
Yeah, he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to play good neighbour to Bob Rigby. James, I want you to go and see him.
I won't have it, Mr. Elliot. Those beasts are a risk.
The ministry don't think so.
Ministry. Pen-pushing ignoramuses, what do they know? I've spent a lifetime building up this farm. I'm in it big now. Think I'm going to risk everything because that stupid Bob Rigby brings a sick cow in from the south?
He didn't bring it in, Mr. Dowson. It was sent to him as a gift.
Yeah, devil I care how he come by it.
How did you come by your Hereford bull, Mr. Dowson?
Bought it, didn't I? Paid good brass for it. £60, young man. £60!
I know. Where did it come from?
One of the finest herds in the country. Chap from Cheshire.
Not quite as far as Sussex, Mr. Dowson. Dead but for the grace of God. Well, face the fact, it could just as easily have been your bull that brought the infection.
Aye. But it wasn't.
Look, Mr. Dowson. You can smell the stench from here. That's the last of all the stock Bob Rigby had on his farm. Now, maybe your luck won't hold either. And if it doesn't, the men from the ministry aren't going to be lighting a poor little bonfire like that. Your beast will burn for 2 weeks.
What's that they're saying, young man?
Simply this. While your luck lasts, and believe me, I hope it does, you can help a fellow farmer in distress. Save those heifers for him, Mr. Dowson.
It's the risk, Mr. Elliot.
There is no more risk from them than from anywhere else. Good God, man, it's not much to ask.
What are they asking, then?
To feed them hay every evening. No need to go in the field, just fork it over the fence.
Is that all?
Yes, and I promise you this. I'll come up every morning to take a look at them. First sign of a symptom. They'll be slaughtered the very same day.
Well, I've nothing against young Rigby. He's a good lad. I'm right sorry for what's happened to him. All right, Mr. Elliot, I'll do what they asks.
Oh, Penny, you're proving quite a problem, aren't you?
I'm so sorry to give you all this bother.
Oh, dear Mrs. Flaxton, that's exactly what we're here for.
Oh, but I didn't want to bother you. I've tried and tried to get hold of your brother.
Oh, really?
Oh, well, I know he's your expert on domestic pets, and he was very kind and concerned when I was last here, begged me to call him day or night if I was the least bit anxious.
Yes, I can well imagine. That's my brother Tristan all over.
Well, the only trouble is I simply haven't been able to get hold of him.
No, well, you see, it's this foot and mouth scare. There have been no further cases, luckily, but that's kept us very busy.
Yes, I do understand.
Now, then, there's nothing wrong with the treatment, but she's not responding.
Not at all. Your brother was so confident.
Yes, is she still eating properly?
Not anymore. Whatever she does eat goes straight through her. She's got a terrific thirst, always at her water bowl, and then she brings it back.
Yeah, well, you see, that's because of the inflammation of her insides. It really does give them this raging desire for water, and of course, the more she drinks, the more she vomits. It is, I'm afraid, very weakening.
She's not going to die.
You love her very much, don't you?
Mike and I adore her.
Don't worry, we'll find a way to pull her through. Just the weakening worries me a little bit. See, there's no question that it's not gastroenteritis, but I don't quite understand why she's not responding. But we'll find a way. Now, for a start, I want you to put on a very light diet. Arrowroot and boiled milk.
Yes.
And I think I'm going to change the medication just because she is weak.
Day calls, night calls. 6 hours sleep in 24 if I'm lucky. I tell you, James, I'm completely worn out. There ought to be a society for the prevention of cruelty to vets.
Yes. Well, I can't pretend I'm feeling exactly bright-eyed and bushy-tailed myself.
Well, it's the longest month I ever remember.
And there are still 2 weeks to run, Tris.
Oh, don't rub it in. Shan't last the course, not at this rate, that's for sure.
Yes, you will. We both will. It is astonishing, though, isn't it? Not another case since Rigby's. Touch wood. Still, it does show one thing.
What?
Well, just how much of the workload Siegfried carries when he's on the scene.
When he's on the scene, I suppose you realise he's having a comfortable holiday at our expense.
Rubbish! No, he gave his reasons, Tris, and I think in the circumstances it was a right decision.
No, do you? All that nonsense about putting himself into quarantine. 2 surgeries and answering the telephone. That is the sum total of his daily effort while we drive ourselves towards an early grave. What does he do the rest of the time? Slops around in his slippers. Puts his feet up by the fire, listens to the wireless, and reads. Dorothy Sayers.
You're getting quite worked up.
Oh, you bet I am. If you want to know, I've been quietly on the boil these last couple of days.
Well, you're an idiot. Cool off.
Oh, I'm doing so, visibly, dear boy.
You could have fooled me.
You see, James, I've always nourished a strong sense of poetic justice. Now, with any luck at all, I've now put a spoke in Siegfried's wheel. No, not a spoke. Wrong metaphor. It's more subtle than that. More like setting a bowl of cool, clear water just beyond the reach of a man dying of thirst.
Oh, that's very subtle. Go on.
Well, it was just by chance, really. I bumped into Sue Beresford this morning. Gorgeous girl. Always been a bit potty about my brother. I never could understand why. Oh, well, that's women for you. Anyway, she asked after him. I was just about to tell her when I had one of those inspired mental flashes. So instead, I said he was very down in the dumps. Hinted at a broken love affair, expressed my brotherly concern, suggested it would be an act of pure Christian charity if she invited him to her place for a drink. Well, naturally, I made her swear not to mention my name.
Naturally.
Well, she jumped at it, James, simply jumped at it.
So?
Well, there's nothing like improving on a good idea, so I rang up two other beauties he's always fancied. Bunty Farquhar and Jennifer Selby. I spun them the same yarn. They swallowed it, hook, line and sinker.
Look, I'm sorry, Tris, I'm not quite with you. Where does all this get you your sense of poetic justice?
You know, James, you can be a bit dense at times, can't you? I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? Suddenly, out of the blue, he receives 3 tantalizing invitations, which his self-imposed murder makes it impossible for him to accept. I mean, as far as he's concerned, one could hardly devise a more exquisite form of torture. I tell you, James, there's going to be a gnashing of teeth and a bashing of knuckles tonight at the Skeldale house. Come on, let's get back.
What's the rush?
First of all, I'm going to stew my aching bones in the hottest, deepest bath in Derby. Then, James, I'm going to sit back and watch the frenzy grow.
You don't know your brother as well as I do. Hello.
Oh, hello, darling. You're back. How lovely. How day?
Not too bad.
No, I can smell the beer.
Tris and I had a pint of the Drovers. Hello, Secret.
All well. Better than that, James. Your wife is an angel of mercy. We spent the day doing the accounts and going through the figures.
Good Lord.
No joking. When I think of the tyranny we suffered at the hands of that abominable woman... What was her name?
Harbottle.
Harbottle! Never to be forgotten. Whereas Helen... words fail me.
Oh, he's talking absolute rubbish.
I never really thought that I'd actually enjoy totting up figures. And do you know what's more, James? We're making a handsome profit. Which is why, at my expense, and regardless of cost, you will take this sweet young girl out to dinner tonight. And that's an order.
Oh, Siegfried, that's very kind of you. But if the poor old thing's too whacked...
What poor old thing? I certainly am not too whacked. You sure that's all right?
Why shouldn't it be?
Oh, that's marvellous, Siegfried. Thanks most awfully.
Don't thank me, thank your wife. Well, stop being so conscientious just for once. Tristan can very well hold the fort.
Tristan?
Yes, you may not have noticed, but...
All right. Who pinched all the hot water?
I'm afraid I did.
What do you want a bath for? Why are you dressed like that?
Well, it's been one of those exceptional days. You know, I'm not by nature a recluse. I confess I've found this last fortnight increasingly irksome, but it turns out I'm not a forgotten man. The invitations have been pouring in, and even at this moment, I am off to cocktails at Broughton Manor.
But you can't.
And now, why do you say that?
You're in quarantine.
Oh, my poor dear child. Sue Beresford has not got cloven hooves, not within the meaning of the act, so I shan't be giving her foot and mouth. Well, Miss Dash, goodbye, my dear. Make sure he gives you a lovely dinner. So long, James.
Well, bye-bye, Siegfried.
You are, Tristan.
Me?
Well, you're our expert on domestic pets, are you not? Au revoir, mes amis. Amusez-vous bien. James.
Why the sad and pensive air?
Huh? I'm worried, James, very worried.
Our luck's held out so far.
No, I don't refer to the pestilence. I mean that nice little bitch of Mrs. Flaxton's.
Well, Penny the Poodle?
Yeah.
Well, she's not still sick, is she?
I simply don't understand it. I mean, you kicked off with the classic treatment for gastroenteritis, and when that didn't work, Tristan changed the medication, accidentally correctly as it happened. No improvement. At that point, I took over. James, I've now exhausted our entire repertoire of available drugs. That wretched little creature's been subjected to powdered ipecacuanha and opium, sodium salicylate and tincture of camphor. I've even tried decoctions of hematoxylin and infusions of caryophyllum. I tell you, I'm beginning to feel like a third-rate witch doctor.
What, no improvement?
Worse. She's weak, getting weaker. Once she's been to see her, she's hardly fit to come to the surgery. It's a simple case of gastroenteritis. What's gone wrong? What is it we don't know?
Have you got to go out?
I expect so. You go back to sleep, darling. Quiet, dog. You'll wake up the whole house. Quiet! Hello?
We're so sorry to...
Come in, come in.
So sorry to bother you this time of night, Mr. Harriet.
It's Penny. She's really bad.
We'll bring her on to the surgery. I'll take a look at her.
I know it's late, Mr. Harriet. There doesn't seem to be anything we can do for her.
That's all right. I'm on duty tonight anyway. There we are, Penny.
She's really suffering now. Just lies in a basket crying all the time. There's one thing, Mr. Harriet. We both agreed that she... Are you prepared to put her down?
It really would be the kindest thing.
Yes, I suppose it would. But it shouldn't be. I mean, it really shouldn't be. She's just 2 years old, you say?
Next month.
Mrs. Paxton, I'm going to put Penny to sleep. No, not the way you think.
I don't quite understand.
I simply want to anesthetize her.
What possible good will that do?
Well, I can't be certain it'll do any good at all. It's just an idea I've got. But if she has a rest and this continual drinking and vomiting and straining, it may give nature a chance.
Well, don't you think she's been through enough already?
Yes, I do. Of course she has, but this won't cause her any more distress. She won't know a thing about it, I promise. Look, I know this is a last resort, but I'd be very grateful if you'd let me try, please.
All right. Go ahead.
Thanks.
But this will be the last, won't it?
Yes, it will.
What are you giving her?
Nembutal. Just a small shot. She'll sleep till late afternoon, and I'll come back and give her another dose. Or Mr. Farnham will. If I can't make it, I'll tell him what I'm trying. But I want to keep her sedated for 48 hours. There you go, Peppy. Here's a good talk.
Ah, James. How went the day?
Oh, pretty easily. Few simple cases. One case of mastitis. Things seem to be slacking off a bit.
Good. Excellent. Did you have a look at Bob Rigby's heifers?
I do every day. Clean as a whistle.
Very satisfactory.
Siegfried, did my eyes deceive me? Is there or is there not a crate of champagne in the hall?
They did not, and there is.
Having a party?
Not quite yet, James. And I have a sudden, warm conviction. The miracle is going to happen. There isn't going to be an outbreak of foot and mouth. The moment the Minivag gives us the all clear, we celebrate. So, be prepared.
Perfectly splendid. On the other hand, isn't it tempting Providence a bit?
Yes, of course it is, outrageously. I had that well in mind. If the thing flares up at the last moment, we don't celebrate. We get drunk instead. Any complaints?
None. Cheers.
That brings me, James, to another small miracle.
Oh, my hat. You don't... Not Penny the Poodle?
Absolutely. I was there when she woke up. Nice 48-hour nap.
Go on.
Oh, she's very weak, of course. Wobbly on her legs, but she didn't make a beeline for the water bowl. She tottered out into the garden, did a neat little job, and then she watered the flower beds for about half an hour.
That's fantastic.
Isn't it? I said I felt quite a fraud getting all those hugs and kisses from Mrs. Flaxton. They were yours by rights, James.
Don't worry about that. Is Penny really on the mend?
And I'm sure she is. I'm equally sure that you really...
No, Tristle
hit
get it.
something,
Go on.
James. Well, I think we need a few more cases to satisfy the profession, but after that, you've got to write a paper about the use of sedation as an adjunct to the ordinary treatment of certain animal ailments for our learned journal.
Well...
No, I really mean it, James. Where was he?
It's Dowson. Is he burning up the line?
What's he on?
His prize bull's got it, that's what. Got to spell it out. Foot and mouth disease.
should never have listened to thee in first place. All that soft soap about helping Bob Rigby. He's not but a bloody tinker. And look what that's done! Brought his filthy disease onto my healthy land and my beasts. Well, has ruined a life's work. I'm a hard man to cross, Mr. Elliot, as you'll find out to your cost. It weren't impotence. That were culpable negligence. That's what it were. Ignorance and culpable negligence. Well, I'll soon, never fear. I'll take thee to court. The highest court in the land, if necessary. And I'll take thee in the blasted practice for every penny that's got. And I'll have this struck off for good measure.
Walking around the bar again, will you? Right, bring it back. Right, hold this head up, will you? Have another look at that tongue. Mr. Dawson. Now, you listen to me. Your anxiety is quite natural. But if you ever speak to me like that again, I will almost certainly punch you hard on the nose. Then you can have the satisfaction of taking me to court for assault. But get this clear. I will not have my professional competence questioned by an incompetent farmer.
What the hell?
Shut up and listen. That bull isn't lame. There are no vesicles between the clits. There are no vesicles on the tongue. The tongue is swollen and painful. He's salivating and has a fairly high temperature.
Well, young man.
Well, so would you be. Running a temperature, salivating, and your tongue would be swollen and painful if you had 3 inches of rusty wire sticking into the bottom of it.
Are you saying?
It is not foot and mouth, Mr. Dawson. It's just a simple infection caused by this. All right. You are no more an incompetent farmer than I am a negligent vet. You're a very good farmer. But I'll lay you any odds you like that that piece of wire gave him a badly cut bale of hay. If you buy prize bulls, it's worth watching the fodder.
That right, young man? I'm sorry for what I said.
That should do you, old chap. How old are they, Mr. Skipton?
You're the vet, you tell me.
Well, they're very old. I can see that from their teeth. But I'd only be guessing.
Well, the mare's about 30, and the gelding's a year or 2 younger. She's had 15 grand foals. Neither of them held out, except a bit of teeth trouble now.
When did they last do any work?
Oh, about 12 years ago, I reckon.
And you've kept them down here all that time?
Aye, just laking about down here, retired like. It's sheltered in winter and grand grazing in summer. Oh, they've earned it and all. They were 2 slaves when I were a slave myself.
And you come and see them very often?
Every day God sends, Mr. Elliot. Rain, blow or snow, I never misses.
But it's 2 miles to your house, Mr. Skipton.
They're old friends, aren't they?
Anyway, everything's under control. Mrs. Hall's been having a field day in the kitchen. Honestly, darling, she is a wonderful woman. The only trouble is she does get carried away. There's going to be enough to feed a regiment. But not army cooking. Strictly Yorkshire cordon bleu. You haven't been listening to a word I've said. James?
What?
Are you with me?
Oh, sorry, love, I was thinking.
What about?
John Skipton?
What about him?
Those two ancient horses. Skipton started life as a farm labourer. Never married. Drove himself hard all his life. Made money. You'd never think it to look at him. He's one of the biggest landowners in the Dales. And he walks 4 miles every day to see those horses, Helen. 4 miles. That's been going on for 12 years. I don't know another farmer in the Dales who wouldn't have sold them to the knacker's yard just as soon as their usefulness expired, but not Skipton. He's given them an ease and comfort in their old age he's never bothered to give himself. Now, why, darling? You tell me that.
It's not difficult, you old silly. He loves them, that's why. Right, Mrs. Hall, we're going to do this. We can let them in soon. And then we're going to get the baked potatoes.
Are we allowed in yet?
Yes, you can come in now. We're ready for you.
Oh, right.
Sorry, Dog. What a sight for sore eyes. Mrs. Hall, I have always held you in the very highest regard. But what can I say now? You're a true artist. A queen of the cuisine.
Oh, get along with you, Mr. Farnan. I've never managed without Mrs. Harriet's help. She's as fine as cook as I am.
There's nothing for it. I'll have to kiss you both.
That's great work, darling. Bravo, Mrs. Hall.
I myself am beyond empty rhetoric, merely empty-bellied.
Ah, you don't, brother.
Brother.
Obtain your gluttony. Now, I have other plans. Now, before our guests arrive, we're going to have a little private ceremony of our own. Please note, brother dear, that when opening a bottle of champagne, I do not follow the vulgar habit of bombing the ceiling with the cork.
Oh, well done.
Don't put it there, never mind. It seems to me that some sort of toast is appropriate at this moment. Give me your advice. To what or to whom shall we drink?
Well, ourselves, of course.
Yes. Ourselves, why not? After all, where in all Darrowby could one possibly hope to encounter... Come along, Mrs. Hall.
Oh.
Such a combination of beauty...
Here, here.
Thank you, Siegfried.
Industry
Oh, thank you.
and wit. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the toast. Ourselves.
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 Someone's a bit early.
Oh, go on, Mrs. Harriet.
Oh, thank you,
Just
Mrs.
got there,
Hall.
didn't they?
Who do you suppose?
Penny and the Flaxtons.
Could be.
They live just around the corner, don't they?
Or my rosebud.
Who?
Your rosebud
From
Tris.
the hospital. Absolute little charmer.
It's Sue Beresford.
And how do you know?
Girl of handsome appetites, James. I warned her of this feast. Not my words. Sue Beresford.
Oh, Mr. Farnan, sir.
Yes, Mrs. Hall, what is it? Or who is it?
Jess Rowbottom, sir.
Just Robot. What on earth do you want?
Oh, Mr. Farnan, I'm that sorry. He says, could someone come at once? It's a misplaced calf bed.
Oh!
Oh, no. Not now. It can't be. Oh, how unfair.
Life, my dear Helen, is beastly unfair, but we, among ourselves, are not.
Just now and then.
Gentlemen. The short match wins the job. Tristan. James. As Helen remarked only a moment ago, beastly unfair on one of us. Well, at least let's drink a glass of champagne first.
Yeah,
shall we? Come, Mrs. Hall. Bring your glass. Bring your glasses. Come on. Here, here. Now, let me
Good.
Oh, come on. Thank you very much. Well. Come on.
She was worth a damn sight more than half a crown to you. If you'd given me the chance, I could have saved her too. It's worth thinking about.
What have you got, Mr. Farnham?
Both legs back. They're a long way in, Mr. Dawson. Look at the length of her pelvis.
I've seen longer.
I'm all right. It's just the uterus contracting.
That's to be expected.
It gets you round between the calf and the pelvis.
Only natural that it should.
Hello, Bob. Oh, yeah. Hello there, Mr. Elliot.
What's that you got there?
Just you come and look, Mr. Elliot.
Chickens. Great Scott, Bob, a Jersey. Don't see many of those round here.
Pedigree long as your arm.
She's a beauty, Bob. Where did you get her from?
Joan's dad.
Huh?
The wife, Mr. Elliot. Her old man's got a prize herd down in Sussex. This were her present.
Well, it's a very handsome one, too. She looks a bit tucked up.
Not bound to. It's the cold. You know what those cattle trucks are. I've only just fetched her from station.
Yes, of course. Well, it's the cold you'll have to watch with her.
Never you fear. I'll nurse her like a baby. She'll stay inside with the calf till the weather's right.
You will breed from her, of course.
Oh, aye. Yeah, when time comes. Shorthorn cross.
Oh, yes, good idea. Any luck, you'll get the shorthorn yield and stamina, plus the Jersey cream.
All right, that's what I was thinking. Well, I'm glad to see you, Mr. Elliot.
The best of luck, Bob.
Thanks. Is young Mr. Farnham down the road?
Oh?
Ah, I saw his car outside Dowson's place.
Oh.
It's all right, young man. Get the sup to drink.
Hi, Tris. How's it going? Oh, grief. You all right, Tris?
Thanks, old chap.
That best leave us, Mr. Herity. He needs his rest.
Yes, of course.
What is it, Mr. Dawson?
A fine bull calf. Charlie's wisping here now. Yeah, get another drop of this brandy into the left. I've never seen anyone work harder. Gave it all his heart, he did.
Good stuff. Wouldn't mind a drop myself.
I don't hold with drinking for its own sake. Only when it's needed, Mr. Herity.
Of course, you missed the really dramatic part of my performance.
Oh, I saw quite enough. Gave it all his heart, he did. No, Tris, any man who can get a 3-star brandy out of dancing the way you do doesn't have to prove his point. I'm just envious, that's all. Oh, hello. A pint for Mr. Farnham, please, Betty.
Oh, thank you kindly. How's Kitson?
Unchanged. One perfectly good you dying painfully because he couldn't bring himself to call us in time.
Typical.
Here you are, Mr. Farnham.
Thank you very much, Betty.
Right,
Thank
here
you.
are.
Good health.
Yep.
Did
Cheers.
you tell him to call Malak?
Yes.
He won't, you know.
No, I know he won't. So I slipped it 40 cc's in there. If you'd called me out sooner, Mr. Kitson, I could have saved the 4th one.
3's a crowd and 4's not but a nuisance. She'd be better off with just 2.
That's a matter of opinion. Thanks. What's the trouble here?
She had a roughish time lambing yesterday.
What do you mean, roughish?
Big single lamb, a leg back. And I couldn't fetch it round.
And you pulled it out as it was with the leg back?
Huh? Naught else I could do.
Could do with a bit of attention, Mr. Kitson.
No, I want none of that. It's all over with her. There's naught you can do.
You mean she's dying?
That's right.
Yes, she is. Bring Mallet to come and pick her up. Thank you. There's no point letting her suffer.
I'll do that. How much?
Oh, £0.50.
I'll have to go to the house for it.
It doesn't matter now, Mr. Kitson.
It does to me. I don't want none of your bills. I'll pay cash. You wait here, young man. I'll say this for you veterinaries. You don't undercharge a man. Here you are.
Thanks. And I'll say this to you, Mr. Kitson. You've got a dying ewe in there.